Hello everyone, Chag Purim Sameach to all. Hope that you're enjoying your Yontiv of Purim. In the words of Torah that I'm about to share should serve as a continued Refuah Sheleimah for Shira Bat Devorah Leah, a member of our community who needs a Refuah Sheleimah. In this week's Parsha, in Parshas Tetzaveh, the Torah teaches us about the various begadim, the big day kahuna, the clothing that would be worn by the Kohen Gadol, as they would perform their avodah in the Mishkan and ultimately in the Beis HaMikdash. And as the Torah is describing the clothing of the Kohen Gadol, it teaches us about the ephod, this beautiful and elaborate apron that the Kohen Gadol would wear, upon which the choshen, the breastplate of the Kohen Gadol, would rest on the ephod. And the Torah tells us that on this ephod, on this apron, there would be these avnei shoah, these two beautiful stones. The Gemara actually says these stones would fall from Shemayim with the mun. And the Torah says that on the first one of these stones would be the first 6 of the Shvatim, the first 6 of the Jewish tribes. And on the other stone would be the other 6 of the Jewish tribes. But the Torah says that the Nosarim, the remaining tribes, were on the second stone. Asks the Maharal Diskin a very simple question. Why does the Torah need to say the Nosarim, the remaining Shvatim, were on this stone? We get it. 6 Shvatim here, 6 Shvatim here. The word Nosarim, says the Maharal Diskin, seems to be a little bit unnecessary, a little bit superfluous. The Maharal Diskin explains the following very important, I think simple idea, but an incredibly powerful one as well. Says the Maharal Diskin, it's very easy for us to think. 6 Shvatim on this stone, 6 Shvatim on this stone, not really connected, not really related, they're sort of divorced from one another. Says the Maharal Diskin, we must never view ourselves as divorced from other members of Klal Yisrael. It's true, there's 2 stones, 6 Shvatim here, 6 Shvatim here, but at the end of the day, we're just no sarim of one another, we're remainders of one another, we're connected to and from one another. And the truth is, there's a similar idea in next week's parsha, where the Torah is teaching us about the machatzis hashekel, the half a shekel that every single Jew, no matter how rich you were, no matter how poor you were, they would donate this half a shekel to the Mishkan to support the Mishkan and all that was taking place in the Mishkan and ultimately in the Beis HaMikdash. Asks the Al-Shich HaKadosh, one of the Rishonim, one of the commentaries on the Torah, a very simple question. I don't understand. Why half a shekel? A half a shekel seems very random. It's not that much money. You could be very poor and still afford 1 full shekel. Why is it, asks the Al-Shich HaKadosh, that each Jew would only give half a shekel? So the Al-Shich explains the following idea very much in line with what the Maharal Diskin said. At the end of the day, a half a shekel needs another half a shekel to become whole. And says the Al-Shich, we need each other. A half a shekel is incomplete without another half a shekel, just like one Jew is incomplete without another Jew. Just like a half a shekel needs another half a shekel, we need each other. We're no surim of each other. We're connected to and from one another. And I think perhaps this idea, the connection of the Jewish people, the unity and the necessity for the achdus of the Jewish people, is perhaps the most poignant and powerful idea as it relates to the Yontiv of Purim. At the very beginning of the Megillah describes us as an am mefuzar u'mefurer bein ha'amim. We're separate, we're disparate, we're not united. And that's exactly the moment when Haman comes and tries to destroy the Jewish people. And then when Mordechai and Esther trying to figure out how are we going to defeat Haman, how are we going to save the Jewish people, Esther says to Mordechai, I'll tell you what we got to do. Leich kenos es kol Yehudim. We got to become connected. We got to gather together and unite with one another. And only when we're united, only when we're one, can we truly take on the enemies that seek to destroy us. Only when we realize that at the end of the day, we're just no sarim. We're connected to and from one another. Once we get that, once we internalize that, once we understand that, only then can we truly achieve greatness. Only then can we truly achieve the potential that Hashem set out for us to achieve. And as I continue to share Divrei Torah in honor of Refuah Sheleimah for Shira Bat Devorah Leah, I can't think of a more poignant and meaningful and relevant message as it pertains to Joey and Shira. People who spend their entire lives bringing Jews together, no matter what kind of Shabbos you observe or don't, no matter what kind of kippah you wear or don't, no matter what kind of a Jew you are or aren't. At the end of the day, Joey and Shira are the kind of people that bring Jews together so that they can connect to each other and serve the Rabbonu Shalom together. And Amir Tzah Hashem, in that merit, in the merit of the Jews that they bring together and all that they do for the Jewish people, we should see a continued Refuah Sheleimah for Shira Bat Devorah Leah. Good Shabbos and Chag Sameach.